A very good morning to all my dear students. So, I hope you're studying well for your exams. Good morning, Sunil. Good morning, Abhishek, Khushbu, Om Krishnam, Swati, everyone, all of us over here. Good morning, Kushi. So, I hope you have very well prepared what we have done in the previous session. Can anyone quickly tell me what are we going to talk about? What topic are we going to take in the session today? Yes? Voting. Swati says voting. So the name of the chapter is, what is the name of the chapter? So all those who are here with us on the portal also, good morning everyone, children. Good morning all of you. So we have previously discussed about management and administration, the first part of that. Very good, Ritu. The first part of MGT chapter has been covered. Today we will be covering the second part of this chapter, that is management and administration. And Om Krishnam has rightly mentioned, we'll be starting from the chairman of the meeting. So as always, before we start with the session, I try to make a quick review since it's a revisionary session only. So we'll try and quickly finish it off because it's a very, very long chapter. So the best part is when we do revision of revision. So let me just quickly ask all of you, how many of you have revised what we have discussed in the previous session? And the last sections, 96, 97, 98 that we just did in the previous session are very, very important. So can you tell me what is the time for which the annual general meeting shall be held by the company? What is the time of holding the AGM by the company? Is there any time which is specifically mentioned under the Act? Is there any time which talks about the gap to be given between two meetings? Yes, quickly answer me. Okay, what is the time gap between two subsequent annual general meeting? You can mention about that as well. So these are all the points that we have discussed in the previous session. So 9 months is the first AGM to be held. 9 months for the new, 6 months for the subsequent AGM. Excellent. All of those who have answered it correctly. Yes, right. Swati, Pooja. Om Krishnam, absolutely right. The gap between two AGM should not be more than 15 months. Now, the second question to all of you that goes is, Umesh all right, Umesh Kumar, sir, I will do that. Sir, it is not showing me the... Yes, sir.
An issue?
Sir, you wanted to say something? Umesh Kumar.
Ma'am, an issue? Ma'am, Ajit.
All right, can we continue?
Yeah, ma'am.
All right. So the AGM, the gap between two AGM should not be more than 15 months. And I was telling you that the first AGM should be held within 9 months and there was a time within 6 months for the subsequent AGM. So children, is it necessary to hold the AGM in the year of incorporation? Tell me, is it necessary to hold, even if we have not held the AGM in the year of incorporation? That is absolutely fine. Can we get the extension of AGM holding? Can we extend the AGM? For how many months the AGM can be extended? Up to 3 months. Very good. No, ma'am, it is not necessary. Ritu says, Pooja, Swati, all of you are correct. What about others? Very nice. Correct answers given by everyone. So up to 3 months, the AGM can be extended only if you have a valid reason, but not beyond that. AGM cannot be extended beyond that. And what did we do in section 97 and 98? Can tribunal hold an annual general meeting? And when tribunal passed the order for annual general meeting, one very important point I told you over here is that even if single member is present, can he act as a proxy? Yes or no for section 97 and 98? Section 97 is when tribunal is calling your AGM. Powers of tribunal to call EGM is given under 98. So one very important topic we did under this section was that if tribunal is calling the meeting, then yes, ma'am is the correct answer. Even one member will be held as a quorum. However, this is the exception which has been given under section 97 and section 98. Otherwise, at least the quorum for the meeting shall be what we have discussed in section 103. So we have done the notice of the meeting also. Section 100 was discussed in detail. Can you quickly tell me, if the board of directors is not holding EGM, then EGM will be held on the requisition of certain number of members. What is that number of limit of the members that who will be making the requisition? For holding the EGM, what is the limit of the members who will be making the requisition? 1/10. Okay, Om Krishnam says 1/10, but that is not a correct answer. You have to tell me, ma'am, if it is a company having a share capital, then 1/10 of the members who are holding the paid up share capital. If company is not having a share capital, then 1/10 of the members of the total voting power. So in exam, you have to answer such kind of questions. Okay, Swati also says 1/10 of total paid up capital. So first you will break up company having a share capital, 1/10 of paid up capital, company not having share capital, 1/10 of the voting power. All right. And the board within 21 days of receiving shall proceed to call the meeting, and maximum within 45 days the meeting shall be called. This is what we discussed. So my question to you is, if board does not call the meeting within 45 days, then within how much time period the requisitionists can call the meeting? Under section 100 EGM, the requisitionists can call the meeting if the board fails to call the meeting in 15 days. Within how many days? Okay, let me see how many of you are here as well with us on the portal. Okay. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Tell me the correct answer. Vidya Shade. Very good. 3 months is the correct answer. So within 3 months, the requisitionist can hold the meeting. Khushi, Swati, Om Krishnam, 21 days. Kyun bol rahe ho? 21 days. After 21 days, I said, if the meeting is to be held, Khushbu, then within 45 days, the meeting should be held. If it is not held, then requisitionist, yes. 3 months is the correct answer. And always we have to give the notice for the meeting is 21 days. We have done it very nicely in the previous class. What is the limit of notice? We have to exclude the date of the meeting as well as the date on which the notice is served. Again, my question to whole of the class is, if we are calling the meeting for the shorter period, then what is the approval that is required? In that requisitionist, we did the approval under section 100. Now, second limit, we are revising under 101. How much approval is required if it is the company having a share capital or if it is an AGM, if it is an EGM. So there are different categories. If it is an AGM, then 95% of the members having paid up capital. Okay, if the company is doing EGM, then we divide it into 2 categories, having share capital, not having share capital. But in case of EGM, there is another important limit. One is 95% of the members entitled to vote, because here we are talking about the voting rights. So it is very important. 95% of the members are entitled to vote in case of AGM. That is the EGM. You will divide into 2 parts: company having a share capital, company not having a share capital. Not having a share capital, again 95% of the total voting power is clear. Company having a share capital, then 95% of the paid up share capital plus the majority of the number of members. So my question to all of you is, which can come as an MCQ to all of you. So there are 100 members, out of which 30 members have given their consent, holding 98% of the total voting, total paid up share capital. Can we give the notice for the shorter period? Is it a valid consent that we have obtained? So there are 100 members. So how many of them should have given the consent? Very good. Pooja correctly answered no, ma'am. What about others? At least 50. Very good, Swati. So at least 50. So 51 members will say yes. Along with that 95%, both the conditions have to be seen. So please do revise these kind of things very nicely, children. Anything can come out in the exam, in the question. So whenever you are revising your chapters, make brief notes. Everything should be noted out nicely in the study material itself. You can also paste your, the slip notes, short notepads. You can make it over there so that you can just quickly revise the limits just before the day of exam. So if in the presentation, you will see, I generally try to bold it. I generally try to underline it. Similar ways you should make your notes so that before the day of exam, you can flip through the pages immediately. So two limits we have revised. We have revised section 96 to 101 also. 102 talked about ordinary and special business. We have very nicely done it in the previous class also. So 4 ordinary business. Can anyone tell me in the chat box? What are the 4 ordinary business that we do? And an explanatory statement has to be given in case of special business. So whenever we are doing any special business, an explanation statement has to be said. So what are the 4 ordinary business? Yes, all of you are correct. Appointment of directors, appointment and removal of auditors, payment of dividend, and consideration of financial statement. Any business other than this is a special business. And what do we need to send along with the special business? A notice. Along with a notice, a statement has to be sent showing the concern and nature of interest of every directors who is concerned about this special business that we're going to do. And if you are not mentioning about this interest, then this interest will be held as a trust by the company and you will be liable to pay back to the company about all these kind of holdings. All right. Absolutely correct. All those who have answered it correctly. So quorum also, I think we have done quorum also. So let's move ahead after doing quorum. In case the meeting is adjourned, then how many days notice has to be given? In case of the adjourned meeting, how many days of notice has to be given? 3 days notice. Very good. Excellent, Swati, Pooja, Om Krishnam. What about others? You all have to reply yes, Vidya. 3 days is the correct answer. All right. Ritu, correct. And within half an hour, if the quorum is not present, then the members present shall be forming the quorum. So can articles provide for larger number of quorum children? Yes or no? So section 103 is very well related to 112 and 13 also, which we'll be talking about that. Again, we'll be giving a reference to the quorum and proxies, how the proxies are to be present. Can proxy will be counted as the quorum? No, articles cannot provide for the, articles can provide for the larger number of quorum, but can never provide for the lesser number of the quorum given in the act. And if there is a body corporate, which is a shareholder in another company, so if they send a single person, then that person will also be counted as the quorum. But if there is a meeting of less than 1,000 members, then the minimum quorum to be present, we have discussed, is at least 5 members personally present. In that case, even if 2 people are present, then also the quorum will be held if it is an adjourned meeting. But if 1 member is present, then the minimum quorum has to be present. So minimum 2 people have to be there. Single member cannot hold the quorum for the meeting. A single member can never be calling if the meeting, even if the meeting is an adjourned. Proxies will never be included. Can we include a proxy? Today we'll be doing in detail about 105 about proxies, who is a proxy. So proxy is also not included in the quorum of the meeting. Now let's start with section 104, chairman of the meeting. Who is the chairman? Can anyone tell me who is the chairman of the meeting? So another easy way of remembering this chapter is that we all are the shareholders. We have invested in the company and now we are holding the annual general meetings to discuss certain criteria, how the business is being done, what all resolutions we're going to pass. So about that, if there is no class leader, if there is no leader person, if there is no chairman of the meeting, there will be a lot of chaos. So we have to appoint certain person has to maintain the, who maintains the proceedings of the meeting. One who is taking and approving the decisions. Very good, Swati and Pooja. So somebody who has to take care of maintaining the decorum in the meeting. People should not be fighting. So if we remember our school days, so if we are in school, we are studying, we always need a teacher in the class. If teacher is not there, everybody start jumping out from their seats and everybody creates a chaos. Similarly, in the parliament, if there is no one to control the decisions, everyone will start shouting and yelling and chaos will happen. And this actually happens in the case of parliament decisions. Similarly, in case of meeting, all the shareholders, everybody, venture holders meeting, shareholders meeting, everybody is saying something. You need to put down your point so that one leader can come in and maintain the decorum of the meeting. So there comes in your chairman. So chairman is basically who is managing the meetings. He's making sure the decorum. What is the meaning of decorum? That the peace is maintained. Nobody is just, shouting at each other, using abusive language, saying bad things. That should not be happening. Sometimes shareholders are saying, I only want to take all the decision. I'm holding more of the share capital. So this should not be the thing. Everybody should be given a say as per the voting powers that have been given to them. Very good, Khushbu. Khushbu says he's the person who leads a meeting or other organized group. So he's acting as a leader of the meeting. So chairman has prima facie authority to decide all the questions and take the decision at that time. So this chairman is actually personally present. All the members who are personally present will elect the chairman out of themselves by show of hands. Now, what is the meaning of show of hands? So, Hamna, in this chapter, you have too much technical words, show of hands, voting, polling. So we'll try to keep it very simple. At the back of our mind, always think about the classroom. The teacher was there. Teacher is saying, I'm going out of the classroom. Who is going to mind the class? So teacher in the school used to ask, who is going to mind the class? So we used to raise a hand, ma'am, can I mind? So that is known as show of hands. Raising your hands, out of that, we are electing whosoever will mind them. So ma'am says, okay, Mr. A is going to mind the class. How many of you agree? So by show of hands means you raise your hand and you select. So 10 people have raised the hands. So we have decided out of the others have got lesser hands raised. So Mr. A will be elected as the chairman. This is how the members will elect the chairman of the meeting. Okay. When you visualize such simple things, that I'm sitting in a classroom, we are appointing a leader. So this is how the chairman will be appointed. So this linking of your mind makes the things very simplified. Otherwise, company law is so vast. You keep reading, you keep studying, and you keep forgetting all the things. At times it happens. I know it happens. So these are the tips how you need to remember it. Just try to correlate it with different life day-to-day instances or your life instances so that you tend to remember these kind of things. So now all the members personally present. Yes, show of hand is a voting method where the participants are indicating their decision. So we will be doing voting by show of hands also, but here we are just electing a chairman, right? Yes, absolutely correct, Khushbu, what you have written. Unless the articles provide, if articles have decided Mr. A is going to the chairman, then you don't have to go into all these kind of things. But if articles have not decided, then all the members personally present will elect by show of hands. There can also be demand for poll. Now, what is this poll? Like you go for the polls when you have the elections around, you have to give your, you have to give your votes by polling system. So similarly, at times, a poll is demanded for the election of the chairman. So they will say that, no, we don't want this Mr. A to be the chairman. We want to go for the poll. Poll meeting has to be done. In poll meeting, everybody will write the name on the chits and chits will be submitted. We'll understand how entire polling system is done. I will explain you in the class through different notes. But as of now, simply remember when the chairman is being adopted, so one, we have appointed the chairman by show of hands. And if there is a demand for poll, now people said that, no, we don't want him to be the chairman. We want the poll to be done for the election of the chairman. So how this poll will be conducted? Till this poll is conducted, this Mr. A will remain the chairman. And after that, rest of the meeting will be conducted by whosoever has been elected with the method of poll. So the poll method, we'll be studying how the polling method is done. But what you have to understand is first election of chairman will be done by show of hands. Second, if there is demand for poll, then till the polling is done, that Mr. A who has been appointed by show of hands will remain the chairman. And then second person who has been appointed will be the chairman for rest of the meeting. And what is his powers? To maintain the decorum and peace at the meeting. Chairman to have casting vote. Now, this is another thing which troubles the student. What is the meaning of casting vote? Casting vote means having a second vote. So if there is a tie between two resolutions, you're not able to decide which one to be passed, which one to not, then chairman will have the right to give the second vote. And as per that, the proceedings will be initiated and will be considered. All right. So, and the chairman can also give a different vote. Maybe he has voted for the resolution, yes, in the previous thing. Now he wants to say no, he can do in that case of casting votes also. Exemption to a private company. This exception will not apply to private company who has not defaulted in filing its financial statement. Section 104, unless otherwise provide, shall be exempted in case of a private company, provided that private company has not defaulted in filing the financial statements and clear. Chairman is clear. So these 4 points you have to remember in case of a chairman. Now, who is a proxy? So I was telling you in the previous session also, say for example, Mr. A is absent today and ma'am is taking the attendance. Now this happens in case of college. In school, teachers knows everyone with a very nice face and voice. Everything is recognized because you are studying in the school for a longer period of time. But when you entered the college, you start giving the proxy attendance. Okay, fine, yaar, main teri proxy lagwa dunga. As if we say these kind of things when we are in college. So what is the meaning of proxy? Actually, the person is not present, but you say, yes, ma'am, present, ma'am, in the absence of the person, you're trying to file his attendance. So here we are going to link the proxies. When we are in college, we understand what is a proxy. So similarly, in the meeting, if I am not able to go and attend the meeting, I will say Mr. B on my behalf will attend the meeting. So I am appointing as a proxy. Any member of the company who has the right to vote at the meeting can appoint another person as a proxy to attend. So I have to go for certain important wedding. I will not be present at the meeting right now. So I am sending my proxy who will go and attend the meeting. Can the proxy speak at this meeting? He says he is not entitled to vote except on a poll. This is very, very important point. So proxy under section 105 is appointed. So either he can be the member of the meeting or any other person, but he has no right to vote in the meeting. He cannot speak. If the meeting is happening, everybody's voting, he's just present, but he cannot vote except in case of a poll. Whenever the company decides to go for poll meeting, then proxy will always speak. So write it down in your study material. Proxy will not speak in the meetings and he is not entitled to vote. Only place where the proxy can vote is when there is a demand for poll. All right, Khushbu, we'll make you clear when he is a member, when he is not a member. Though there are certain companies in which it is very much necessary. Say, for example, Section 8 companies which are formed with charitable objectives, they can appoint any other proxies unless such other person is also a member of the company. So Section 8 companies, it is necessary that only the member of the company. So if I am not able to come for the meeting, I will say Mr. C, who is another member of a company, he will be coming as a proxy on my behalf. So in case of Section 8 companies, it is necessary that only the member of the company will be appointed as a proxy. Unless the articles provide, this will not be applicable to company not having share capital. Central government will tell the class of the companies who are not. So the central government will specify what all the companies are not able to appoint the proxy. A person shall not act as a proxy on behalf of a members exceeding 50. Now, what is this meaning of this line? So number one thing, Rule 19 has made you clear that the Section 8 companies can only appoint their members as a proxy, not from an outsider. And now, what is this meaning of this line? A person acting as a proxy on behalf of members not exceeding 50. So if I have been appointed as a proxy, I can be appointed as a proxy for 50 members of the company. But at the same time, you have to make sure that those 50 members should not be holding more than 10% of the paid up share capital of the company. A member who is holding more than 2% of the share capital carrying voting rights may approximately appoint single proxy, and that person will not act as a proxy for any other person. Now, what is the meaning of this line? There is a company, Reliance, and the member is appointing as a proxy. So there are 50 members who are in totality are holding 10% of the paid up share capital. So this Mr. A, whom we are appointing as a proxy, how the proxy is appointed in the form number MGT 11. MGT 11 is the form which is used for appointment of proxy. So 11 form will be submitted for appointing the proxy, and Mr. A has been appointed as a proxy for these 50 members who are in totality holding 10% of the total paid up share capital. But let's say there is a member of the company who is holding 30% of the share capital of the company. Now, Mr. A has been appointed as a proxy for this Mr. Jason, who is holding 30% of the paid up share capital of the company. My question to you is, can Mr. A, who is appointed as a proxy for a shareholder, Jason, who is holding 30% of the share capital, can Mr. A be appointed as a proxy for any other member also? Yes or no? Because it says for 50 members you can be appointed. So I can be appointed for 49 more members, yes or no? Don't tell me simple yes and no. Give me reasons also. Yes, Swati, good. So what is the reason? You say that he cannot be appointed because 50 persons and holding the aggregate of 10% is important. So since Mr. Jason is holding 30% of the share capital and on his behalf he has been appointed as a proxy, so therefore Mr. A cannot be appointed as a proxy for any other person. Rishabh Gupta, Om Krishnam, I'm not getting answers from you. I hope you're attentively attending the session. Khushi, Sunil, Ritu, Abhishek, get up all of you. Everyone has to answer back. Okay, I hope you're understanding, children. All right. So MGT 11 will be the appointment of proxy in form number MGT 11 has to be given. Every notice which is calling the meeting of a company having a share capital will reappear with the reasonable prominence of a statement that a member who is entitled to vote will appoint a proxy or whether he is allowed to attend and vote. A proxy need not be a member. So here it specifically tells you that it is not necessary that the proxy has to be the member of the company. Okay. So if default is made, so now if you're making a default in complying with section 105 means you have not given a notice to the company, a no proxy form has to be given 48 hours before the meeting. Unless, even if the articles provide for longer period. Now, this is very important. Point number 4, I'm explaining you, very, very important. So there is a meeting to be held in 5th August 2023. So within how much time period the notice of MGT 11 shall be given to me? Appointment of proxy form along with the notice which you are sending that we are appointing the proxy shall be given 48 hours before the meeting. So 5th August 2023 at 11 a.m. you're going to hold the meeting. So by 3rd August 2023 by 11 a.m. you should have given the notice that the proxy 48 hours before the meeting shall be given. Proxy form that we are appointing a proxy. Let me see how many of you have given the correct date. Very good. 3rd August, 11 a.m. All of you have mentioned the correct date. Well done. So can the articles provide for 72 hours or 85 hours? Proxy form can be submitted. Can the articles of association provide for a longer period? Means can the article says that the proxy form should be submitted 72 hours before the meeting? Can the articles provide for a longer period? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Khushi says yes. Swati says no. Why yes, Khushi? What's the reason? Pooja says no. That's correct. Vidya says no. That's correct. Rishabh says no. Om Krishnam says no. Absolutely correct. Because Act may what is given is in the Companies Act, the 48 hours is given. Even the articles cannot override this provision. Articles cannot provide for the longer period. It can provide for the shorter period, but it cannot provide for the long. Now, instrument which is appointing a proxy will be in writing and shall be signed by the person who is appointing authorizing. If the appointer is a body corporate, then the instrument shall be signed by a person duly authorized by this body corporate. Okay. Invitation to appoint a proxy on any members, invitations are issued at the company's expense to any member. So if you are appointing the proxy, what all expenditure have to be incurred will be reimbursed. Officers shall not be liable if such issue is made at the member's request in writing. Now, what happens is you cannot name the person unless you have received a request from the members. So if the members request you, then you can tell the name. Otherwise, a liability is charged if you have written in the proxy form that, okay, fine, Mr. B and C can only be appointed. Yes, Pooja, that's correct. So if it is written in the form that only Mr. B and C can be appointed as a proxy, then you will be chargeable for this offense. Otherwise, it shall not be mentioned that if members are requesting, then you can tell. MGT 11 cannot be questioned even if you fail to comply with the requirements. So you cannot challenge the company who is why you're appointing this person as a proxy. Now, point number 7 is very, very interesting. Again, you have to understand it with the help of a case study. These kind of things where I'm trying to give you examples can come up in the questions as MCQ also or as direct questions also. So one provision we have understood over here is 48 hours wala provision that the proxy form MGT 11 has to be given 48 hours before the meeting. Company should know that who is person who is coming as a proxy. Now, the person, every member entitled to vote at the meeting or any resolution shall be entitled to inspect. Now, and the member wants to see that, okay, fine, there was Mr. A, the shareholder. Now, he is not coming and he's sending his proxy for this meeting. He has filled MGT 11 form and he's sending Mr. C on his behalf. And any member, Mr. D is a member who wants to inspect. He's curious to see who is this person who is coming. He wants to inspect the proxy, whether he's an actual real person or any fake person. Maybe some Don is coming or who is coming for attending this meeting of the company because he's not necessary to be a member. Na? He's an outsider. So maybe Mr. D is curious to know. So law says that if Mr. D wants to inspect it, he can inspect it during the period beginning 24 hours before the time fixed for the meeting and ending with the conclusion of the meeting. And 3 days notice in writing has to be given for inspection. Say, for example, if the meeting starts on 14th March at 11 a.m. So meeting is going to start on 14th March at 11 a.m. A proxy, Mr. C, is coming and attending on behalf of Mr. A. this Mr. D should send the intimation to the company 3 days of notice in writing in advance that I want to inspect the proxy. I want to see who is the proxy. He wants to do the inspection. He has the right. Companies Act 2013, Section 105 has given the right to any member of the person who is entitled to vote or to vote on any resolution. He has the right to inspect the proxy. So in order to exercise his right to inspect the proxy, children, how many days before he shall give his notice in writing? 3 days notice in advance has to be given. So if the meeting is going to begin on 14th March at 11 a.m., so by 11th March, he should have given this notice in writing because the meeting is going to be held on 14th March. This much is clear to everyone, 3 days notice in advance. Now, for how much period this inspection is open? He says 24 hours before the time fix. What is the 24 hours before the time fix? 14th March ka 24 hours kya hoga? 13th March 11 a.m. Till the meeting continues. Let's assume the meeting continues on 14th March 6 p.m. So from 13th March 11 a.m. till 14th March 6 p.m. during this time period, only during the business hours. It does not mean that any time he can go at midnight at 2 a.m. and say that I want to inspect who is the proxy. Knock, knock, open the door. Can I see who is the proxy? This cannot be done. You can only do the inspection during the business hours. And for how much time period? 24 hours before the date of the meeting. So 13th March 11 a.m. till 14th March 6 p.m. Children, it is your revision. And I'm explaining you everything as if we are doing it for the first time. You should be answering it. I am just here to make you revise the things. Okay? So quickly answer me. Okay? When I'm asking, you should answer me back. All right. Well done. Those who have written 3 days notice in writing. That's correct. I hope proxy is absolutely clear. No more doubts or anything you want to ask in proxy. Okay. Very good. Everyone has written it's clear. So let's move ahead. 3 days concept again. Khushbu is now asking. So Khushbu, what you did not understand, listen again, Khushbu. You want to speak, Khushbu? You want to ask something? Oh, sorry, Khushbu. Yes. Yes, Khushbu. All right. So 3 days concept, it says that anyone who wants to inspect the proxy shall give the notice in writing. So I am a person, Mr. D, and I want to see that who is coming as a proxy in the meeting. So if the meeting is on 14th March, so 3 days prior to this meeting, that is 14, 13, 12. So by 11th March, okay, 13, 12, 11. So 3 days before kya hua? 11th March. If the meeting is on 14th March, 11th March, 11 a.m., I should have received a notice in writing that I want to inspect the proxy. Then only I'll be allowed to inspect. So I have to send a notice in writing, then only I will be allowed to inspect the proxy. Is that clear, children? All right. Now begins your very, very interesting section, which you generally find little tough, but it is not that tough. It is, in fact, very, very interesting. All right. Good. I'm glad, Khushbu, it's clear to you. Ritu also says clear, ma'am. Well, very good. Let's move ahead then. Okay. So now voting as under section 106, 7, 8, 9, 10 all talks about how the voting is done. So restriction on voting rights is given under section 106. So 107, 8, 9, 10 tells you the voting is done by show of hands. You can see what a beautiful picture. I've taken this exact picture from ICAI module itself. Beautifully, the module study material has explained you each and everything in very much detail. So show of hands means by showing your hands, you can vote. By electronic means electronically. AI is your guru these days. Everything is being happening electronically. So 108 is the easiest method. You just click a button and the vote is done. Voting by poll. So again, this is the basic method which we follow in the elections also. You go at the polling booth, you take a paper, you write the vote, and you fold the paper and then you put it in the box. Witnesses will be coming, scrutinizer will be there. Whole procedure I'll be explaining under 109 how it happens. And by postal ballot, the way 108 is electronical method, remote, e-remoting, you're not personally coming in present. Similarly, by postal ballot also, you're posting you're sending it, the ballot papers are given to you and you mark your vote and you send it, and then you have to take a decision whether you'll be present on the general meeting or not. Now, 106, before we move to now how you have to prepare for your exams whenever you're revising MGT, you should sit and study about the registers one day. 1.5 hour you should give your allotted time to the register. Then 1.5 to 2 hours you should allot for specifically for your AGM, EGM, notice, proxy. That is all the methods of convening a general meeting. That is the second part of the chapter. The third part of the chapter, 1.5 to 2 hours shall be given specifically to the voting rights. When you're studying about the voting rights, just study about that voting rights only. Don't confuse yourself with any other thing. So this MGT chapter, you have to break it into 4 parts when you are revising your lecture. Registers and AGM can still be combined because it's an exclusive section. So section 88 to 105, you can do it together, and 106 to 122 shall be done on a separate day. Again, in between, you should divide them into 2 parts, registers part and then general meeting part. And the last part is voting wala part, pura 106 to 110 and 111 to 122, you should do it separate. Then you will never tend to confuse yourself. It becomes very, very simple. So if the chapter is lengthy, you have to adopt a strategy how you have to do it. Now, what is the meaning of restriction on voting rights? Can I restrict the voting rights of a shareholder? He has the free right to vote, but only in the 2 cases, a company can put a restriction. Articles may provide a restriction. No member can exercise any voting rights if there are any calls in areas to be payable by him. If there is certain money that he has unpaid shares are there, then restriction can be put on his voting right. Or if the company has exercised any right of lien on his shares, he has not paid the money and lien has been exercised on his shares. So in 2 cases, the restriction can be imposed. Number 1, if company has exercised the right to lien in respect of the shares registered in his name, or if there is any calls in arrears, the sum of money that he has not paid in respect of the shares. In these 2 cases, company can exercise a restriction on his voting rights. Company shall not accept on the grounds. Other than these grounds, it cannot prohibit any member to cast his voting rights on any other. So these are the only exclusive 2 methods by which restriction can be imposed. Any other method cannot be there in order to put a restriction. In case of a poll, member or his proxy entitled to more than 1 vote need not use all the votes in the same way. Now, what is it trying to tell you? It says when the polling method is there, then you can vote the way you want to vote. You can even say, for example, you have 100 resolutions, you can put 40 resolutions in favor, you can put 60 resolutions against also. It is your choice. So you're free to vote more than 1 vote and you can use your voting rights in the way you want to use. It is your choice. You can use it as per your method. What happens in case of joint shareholders? Joint shareholders must concur in voting. Concur means they should agree on single thing in voting. If Mr. A and Mr. B are joint shareholders, Mr. A says, I want to vote in favor. Mr. B says, I want to vote against. So law says, please don't do all these tantrums over here. You sit and decide who wants to vote. And otherwise, on the basis of seniority. What is the meaning of on the basis of seniority? In case of joint shareholders whose name is appearing first in the register of members, that vote will be considered the final. Voting will be done on the basis of seniority. A company can restrict the voting rights in respect of unpaid calls or lien only if authorized by articles. Articles will provide, then only you can put a restriction. Please read the last note which I have written so that you don't tend to confuse us. Let's move to section 107, which says voting by show of hands. So at any general meeting, a resolution. So what are resolutions, children? Resolutions are the decisions which we are taking at different meetings, which we are holding for the shareholders. So at any general meeting, a resolution is put to vote. Abhishek Singh is asking, what is the meaning of right of lien? So remember Sale of Goods Act, where you have discussed at length about right of lien. Right of lien means where the company is trying to put and exercise his right on your shares. That means you have done something, either you have not paid the shares. So lien means kabza karna. Apne kabze mein le lena. I will not give it to you. I have exercised your right on lien to your shares. Taking a possession of your things. All right. Clear, Abhishek Singh? Yes, Om Krishnam, that's absolutely correct. So section 107 tells you that voting by show of hands at any general meeting, a resolution shall, unless a poll is demanded under 109 or electronically, shall be. So every voting, unless 1019 and 108 is applicable, it shall always be done by. Yes, absolutely. Same as lien balance in bank account. Yes, Abhishek Singh, if you don't pay the bank's money, if you have taken a loan, the bank will exercise lien on your securities and assets that you have given. It's absolutely correct. Good. So now, show of hands. Voting by show of hands, it says, unless a poll is demanded or electronical method, you will generally pass all the resolutions by show of hands. How do you do show of hands? We did show of hands like we were selecting a chairman in the classroom or a leader in the school. So similarly, whenever you have to vote, they will ask, this is a resolution. How many of you vote in favor? Show of hands, and the vote will be casted. Following shall be the conclusive evidence of passing the resolution where the declaration by the chairman is happening, entry to that effect in the minutes of the meeting. So these are the conclusive evidence. Conclusive evidence means how will you conclude that the resolutions have been passed? Number one, when the chairman has declared that yes, this is the final decision that we have taken and it has been passed in the minutes of the meeting. Minutes means a summary, which we'll be doing in a while. It is a detailed summary how we have to make the minutes of the meeting. Can an insolvent shareholder vote by show of hands? Yes or no? Can an insolvent shareholder vote? And if you say yes, why? There is a voting date on 4th March 2023. And there was a shareholder who was declared insolvent on 3rd March 2023. Can he cast a vote by show of hands? Yes, ma'am, because his name appears in the register of members. And if his name is removed from the register of members on 3rd March, can he cast his vote on 4th March at the AGM? Now tell. Then no, Om Krishnam is the first one. Right, good. Ritu, Swati, Om Krishnam, Abhishek, Kushi, Kushbu, everyone is correct. Good. So as far as your name is appearing in the register of members, you can vote. And once your name has been removed, you can vote. Demand for poll is little extensive. We will just come to these sections 107, 108 again. Let me complete a small section of circulation of members resolution, and then we will take a small break, and then we will again begin from the demand for poll and all these sections. Okay, so 106 we have done, 7, 8, 9, 10 we will do after the break, but before the break I want to do a circulation of members resolution, section 111. What is the meaning of circulation of members resolution? So whenever you're going to pass a resolution at the general meeting, you circulate it among the members that these are the decisions which we are planning to take along with the notice which is given under section 101. So company is holding a meeting on requisition in writing as received under section 100. What is section 100, children? What is section 100? He's saying that when we are holding a meeting under section 100, what is the meaning of section 100? EGM. Very good, very good, very good. So resolution is being passed under section 100. So requisitionists have given the yes. Good. All of you have given the correct answer. So notice has to be given to any resolution which may be properly moved or intended to be moved and circulated to the members any statement with respect to certain resolution. So at times what happened is the company has taken a decision that we are going to pass these 8 resolutions in the general meeting. And you are one of the member who is not really satisfied with the 8th resolution and you want that certain changes should be made in this type of resolution. Or you want that there is a 9th resolution that shall be included in this meeting. So you will have to give a notice to the members that we want this 9th resolution to be included. Or you can circulate a statement to the members with respect to the proposed resolution that this is the 8th resolution where the name of directors, we feel Mr. A, not Mr. B should be given the chance this time. So whatever is the case, either out of 8 resolution you want to add the 9th resolution, then you will give a notice to the members, or in the 8th or 7th resolution you want to make certain changes, then you will circulate a statement with respect to that. Now this requisition shall at least be submitted in the form of notice of a resolution not less than 6 months. And in any other case, so means if the 8th resolution and you're planning to add the 9th one, then the notice has to be given not less than 6 weeks, means 6 weeks before the meeting. So around 6 weeks is 6 7s are 42. So around 48, 49 days before you have to submit the requisition that we want this resolution to be included, then only it will be considered. Proposed resolution you're not satisfied, then at least 2 weeks before the meeting you can give the statement. This shall be deposited sufficiently meet to company's expenses. So all the sums that will be paid have to be sufficiently met. A copy of a resolution requiring the notice has been deposited and the AGM is held on a date within 6 weeks. Although not deposited as per the time, it shall be held that it has been properly deposited. So if within the 6 weeks you have held the AGM, then it will be assumed if you have circulated this member's resolution within that time period, it will be considered as a valid requisition. So what you simply have to remember in this section is, number one, if you're deciding to make any more important resolution to be added, then you have to give the notice for that resolution. Within how much time period the notice for the resolution shall be circulated, children? Answer me. 6 weeks or 2 weeks for the notice of the resolution? Requisition is for the notice of the resolution. Yes, Bhimani, answer it correctly. Vidya, Bhimani, all of you. 6 weeks, absolutely correct. And if there is any statement to be given, very good. All of you have given the correct answer. And if any statement to be included, then within 2 weeks, it shall be given for any changes that you want in the proposed resolution. Absolutely correct. Now, the company shall not be bound to circulate if the application is made either by the aggrieved person declares that the rights given have been abused to secure needless publicity for defamatory matters. Please round it, circle it. If any defamatory matters are being used. Now, I am the shareholder and I am just trying to create false publicity. I'm circulating among the members that Mr. D, who has been proposed to be a director, is not a very good person. He has done wrong things. But when actually he has not done any such thing, I am just trying to, everybody will say, okay, Harleen ma'am is circulating these resolutions. Who is Harleen? Let us find out. So just to gain some fame and publicity in a wrong way. Any defamatory matters means any wrong way if you're doing, actions will be taken against you. Then company will not be bound to circulate the statements. All right. And the cost incurred by the company for this subsection shall be paid to the company by the requisitionist, notwithstanding that they're not parties. So all the cost has to be paid by the requisitionists themselves. And if there is any default, what is the penalty to be charged? If any default is made in compliance with section 111, what will be the penalty, children? 25,000 rupees will be the penalty if you have defaulted in complying with the sections of this section 111. Is that clear, children? Any doubt till here? So we have done section 100, 101 till 105, 106 and 7 also have been done. We have also revised section 111. Good. I'm glad. Om Krishnam, Ritu, everyone has written clear, ma'am. Swati, good. So everyone is understanding the session. So let's take a small break over here because again, we'll be discussing in detail about the votings and polling. You can go through your study material meanwhile, and we will continue after the break. So we have done circulation of members resolution. Now let us quickly see a very small section of 112 and then we will go back to our posting by voting by postal ballot and by electronical means. Representation of the president and governor in meetings of the companies to which they are members. So if central government is having a membership in a company, so who will be a member? A president of India is a member of a company, or the governor of the state, if they are member of the company, then these people, obviously the president himself will not go and attend the general meetings, right? So they can appoint any other person to act as his representative. So the way we were appointing the proxies, so these people can also appoint a representative. Representative means mere behalf pe you can go and attend the meeting. So this person to whom the president of India is appointed, if it is a central government stake, then president is there. And if it is a state government stake, then governor is there. Then these people will appoint any other person to act as a representative in the meeting. So such person who has been appointed as a representative shall deem to be the member of the company. And they will get all the rights and the powers, including the right to vote by proxy and postal ballot. Means this person to whom I have appointed as my representative in the meeting, he can also appoint a proxy to go on his behalf. And also they can vote by postal ballot. And it shall be deemed as if the governor and president have exercised their rights as the member of the company. So this is a very small section, 112, which simply tells you that if the president or governor of the state are the members of the meeting, they can send their representative, and this representative will act as a member of the company. And of the corporations, meetings of companies and creditors, if you're having companies, there is a company which is having a meeting. So company, whether a company within the meaning of this act or not, body corporate means a company incorporated outside India also. So if it is a member of the company or it is a creditor of the company, so here it is talking about the body corporates. The companies who are the members, they can have the meeting of the shareholders or the meeting of the creditors. If it is a member of the company, then resolution will be passed by board of directors authorizing such person to act as the representative for this company. Or if it is a meeting of debenture holders or creditors, then resolution will be passed by directors authorizing such person to act as a representative. So it says what kind of meetings the companies can have. It will be either a meeting of shareholders or it will be a meeting of debenture holders and creditors. In both the cases, the board of directors will decide who will act as a representative of this body corporate. And now there is a body corporate, that is a body corporate means a company is a member of another company. So Reliance is also holding the share capital in another company. So now Reliance, board of directors of Reliance will decide that who Mr. Ambani or anybody can go and act as a representative of another corporation, then that person will be considered as the member and he will have the same right to vote by proxy and postal ballot, same as has been given under the 112. So 112 and 113 are very similar. When you study proxy topic, then you can also go through and read these topics. And the question over here, which comes important question is, if you are a representative of two body corporates. So there is a person, Mr. A, he is representing body corporate 1 and body corporate 2. Then for the quorum of the meeting, you will be counting them as two people or one person. Tell me. We can have representations of corporations from different corporations. We can have the members who are present at the meeting. So if there is a person, Mr. A, who is representing body corporate 1 also, and he is member of body corporate 2 also, then there will be two members or one. Very good. Swati, Om Krishnam, Pooja. Excellent answers. 2 is the correct answer. They will be counted as 2 different people. They will not be considered as one person. Khushbu, correct. All right. Ishwar. Mr. Ishwar is correct. So there are so many students on admin portal. Why don't you reply, children? You all should reply that. Okay, good, Mr. Ishwar. 2 people will be correct. So before now, let's finish it off the postal ballots and voting by electronic means also. It's just the theory and it's very, very simple. The only thing is that it is too vast. So when the things are very vast, you feel, oh my God, I still have to read this much. I still have to do all these topics. Mr. Bhimani and Vidya, I'm getting your messages also. So you can also keep answering in between. So what is the meaning of demand for poll? Even if you don't read this, if you remember how the voting happens in the elections, this is what section 109 is telling you. From the viewpoint of company, and the word shareholders will be used because they are casting their votes and chairman is the leader of the meeting who is going to take the final. So before or on declaration of the result of voting by show of hands. So while you are having the voting on the show of hands, during that time, a poll may be ordered to be taken by the chairman or shall be ordered to be taken by him on a demand made by a requisitionist. Again, under section 109, a requisitionist demand is coming. Where did the demand of requisitionist came before? Under section 100. What was the shorter notice? Under section 101, we have done the shorter notice of 95% of the share capital. EGM, we have done the requisitions of 1/10 of the shareholders. Now, 109 again talks about the demand for the poll will come from the requisitioners. My dear students have to tell me what will be the demand. So if you are requesting for the demand for the poll, company having a share capital, who will make the demand? Hurry up, answer me. This is your revision, children. You're not doing it for the first time. You have to answer me the exact answers. All right? Answer me. Very good. 1/10 of the, okay. 1/10 is total voting power. That's it. Nothing else. Company having a share capital, 1/10 of the total voting power. Just give me 1 second, children. There is a lot of noise. Just give me 1 minute. Yes. Higher of 1/10 of the total voting power or shares of 5 lakh. Very good, Om Krishnam. Absolutely correct. So here you have to remember the Ritu is correct, Swati is correct, Pooja good. All of you, Khushbu, Om Krishnam, Swati, everyone has given the correct answer. Our demand is for the request for the vote count instead of show of hands. Absolutely correct. So 1/10 of the total voting power or the 5 lakh, whichever is higher. So here you just don't have to see the paid up share capital. You have to see the total voting power because here we are talking about the voting rights. So where voting rights is being considered, you have to consider the 1/10 of the voting power or 5 lakh rupees is the second condition. And where did we do the second condition of 95% of the share capital plus majority of the shareholders? Remember, there was a different condition. Under EGM, there was 1/10. So all these limits you can exclusively write down on a sheet of paper under section 100, 101, 109 so that you specifically remember what all are the limits given. And if the company is not having share capital, then it is very simple, 1/10 of the total voting power, that's it. The demand for poll may be withdrawn at any time by the persons who made this. So if you are not comfortable with the demand for poll, you can withdraw your demand also. So this requisitionist can withdraw their demands. The poll demanded for adjournment or appointment of chairman shall be taken forthwith. So if you have demanded for the adjournment of the meeting, so if you want that meeting should be adjourned, adjourned means that we want to take forward the meeting on some another date, then it shall happen forthwith means immediately. Immediately the poll will be demanded and the decision will be taken for the adjournment. Or the second case is for the appointment of chairman. We just discussed when we were doing section 104. I showed you here is the section 104 demand for poll second point where the chairman is demanded, then immediately the poll will be happening that who will be acting as the next chairman of the meeting. So in both these cases, forthwith means immediately. So when does the demand for poll happens immediately, children? What are the two cases? Number one, for adjournment of the meeting, and second is where the chairman of the meeting has to be appointed. Till the time for the show of hands demand of poll is happening, chairman will be acting as the chairman. And after that, the demand of poll decision has been taken. The rest of the meeting will be preceded by that new chairman. A poll demanded for any question other than these topics, 48 hours can be given for doing this kind of direction. So for any other thing, the poll has been demanded for any other question, then timing of 48 hours is given. Okay, you can wait for 48 hours and then demand for poll will be taken as a decision. With the poll, scrutinizing the polling process. Children, when you are having the polling system, the demand for poll is happening. Don't you think another outsider person has to come and review whether the things are happening properly or not? So here a scrutinizer will be appointed from the outside place who will be taking care of all this poll process, and the votes which are given are being held in the manner as have been prescribed under Rule 21. So we'll be understanding what does Rule 21 says. For that poll to be undertaken, a chairman is first going to look for a scrutinizer. Chairman will have the power to regulate the manner in which the polling has been done, and the result, whatever the result of the poll will come, shall deem to be the decision of the meeting on which the poll was taken. So once the result of the poll has been taken, that will be considered to be the final decision. So now let's go to all through the Rule 21 manner in which the chairperson will get the poll process scrutinized. Now this is very, very simple process. If you'll remember your elections, way the elections are being held, it is the same procedure in which the scrutinizer will come and do the all polling process. So chairman will ensure that the scrutinizers are provided. So number one, Mr. A, scrutinizer has come up who is going to hold the whole polling process. So the scrutinizer, Mr. A, shall be provided with all the register of members, specimen signatures. So you will say that these are the register of members. So that is because scrutinizer is an outsider person. Who shall be the scrutinizer? Swati, anyone the chairman can appoint as a scrutinizer, any outside person. So the chairman will have the decision. Read this point number 5, where the poll is to be taken. Chairman shall appoint such person as he deems necessary to scrutinize the poll process, and votes to be given on the report thereon in the manner as. So it says he will scrutinize whole of the poll process, then he will give the report within 7 days of the polling process, and all this will be done as per Rule 21. So now we are going to study each and every step of Rule 21. So number 1, chairman will decide who will be acting as a scrutinizer. He's any person who is acting as an outsider to come and review that the entire fair thing is being happening in my company. Okay. Scrutinizers will be given the register of members. He is an outsider. How does he know who all are the company's members? So you will give them the register of members, specimen signatures, attendance register, and all the registers of proxies will be given to them. Scrutinizers will also be given the documents received by the company under 112 and 113. Please tell me what was under 112. We have just done governor and president who are the members, or body corporate who are the members. Their representatives, registers will also be given. Now scrutinizers will arrange for the polling papers. Appointment of proxy, we did MGT 11 today. Now we are doing the second form, MGT 12. Scrutinizers will arrange for the polling papers. They will distribute the polling papers. Okay, all the shareholders' polling papers have been given. And this polling paper is in form number, tell me, what is the meaning of scrutinizer? Khushbu, scrutinizer means the person who is going to do all the scrutiny. Basically, he is kind of an inspector who is coming from outside and he's seeing whether all these things are being managed correctly. ठीक है बेटा, खुशबू स्क्रूटनाइजर मींस एक बाहर का बंदा जो आएगा और देखेगा सारा प्रोसेस ठीक ढंग से हो रहा है या स्क्रूटनाइज करेगा. ठीक है, he will make sure that everything is being done properly. So scrutinizer, this person who has come from outside, he will arrange the polling papers and he will distribute it among all the peoples, and also for the proxy present in the meeting. My question to my class is, can proxy vote when there is a demand for poll? Yes, ma'am, because you just now taught us that proxy will never speak, will not vote in case of show of hands. But whenever the demand for poll comes, then proxy also always ready to vote. MCQ, very nice question can come. Can the proxy vote in case of demand for poll? Answer is yes. In case of joint shareholders, the first person who is named or in his absence to the joint holder, the polling paper shall be given to him. Then scrutinizer will keep a record of the polling paper in response of this. So now you all are the shareholders. Say, for example, Om Krishnam, Khushbu, Khushi, Swati, Pooja, all those who are having the class with me over here right now, Vidya, Ishwar, Bhimani, all these children, they are all considered to be the shareholders. Now you will write the poll, okay, fine, everybody, Kushi has written, Kushba has written, Om Krishnam has written their poll, and they will close this sheet and they will put it in the empty polling box, which has a lock and seal. So have you ever voted in the elections? Have you seen there is a box lying over there in which you cast your vote and you put it over there in the box. So scrutinizer is the person. Yes, because he is only person who can vote and demand. That is absolutely correct, Khushbu. So all of you now will vote on a sheet of paper. A slip will be given to you. Polling paper is given to you. You'll fold it in response to the poll. And now you will give it to the scrutinizer who put it in the box. And this box will have lock and seal. Lock and seal means it's a closed box. You cannot see in whose favor you have voted. And this box will be opened in the presence of two persons as witness. Now you will make two people sit who will be a witness, and you're opening the box in front of them to find out what is the validity of this vote that you have given. To avoid the ambiguity about the validity of proxy, scrutiny will decide the vote in consultation with the chairman. So when proxy is giving the vote, if member who has been appointed as a proxy has voted, then the proxy's vote will be disregarded. So member himself also came and proxy also came. So proxy's vote in case of demand for poll will be disregarded if the member himself has also voted in person. Okay. So now in front of two persons who are acting as a witness, in front of them, all these polls will be open. Yes, there was a button near the political marks. Absolutely, Om Krishnan. That is the method of actually voting when you go for the polling booth and you vote over there. Scrutinizers will now count the votes casted. Now he will count whatever the votes have been casted and will prepare a report. This report will be in MGT 13. So two forms are here only in demand for poll. One, MGT 12, which is giving the polling papers to the entire shareholders who are going to cast their vote. And in what form he is preparing his report? He will prepare his report in MGT 13. So he will see all the votes have been come. He will open the sheets. He will see whatever Excel sheet will prepare. A report in MGT 13 will be prepared. And within how many days the report will be prepared? Within 7 days. In case of e-voting, because it is happening just on a click of button, electronic voting, immediately he has to prepare a report. But here, since you are doing it, the manual things are all, everything is involved. Excel sheet is being prepared. So 7 days time period is taken from the date of the poll and he will be preparing MGT 13. Chairman will sign the same. Where vote is conducted in electronic modes under 108, the company will provide the necessary support and technical assistance to the scrutinizers to conduct the voting of the and counting will happen. So all under 108, when we are doing electronic method, then company will provide all the support to the scrutinizers so that it doesn't have to face any problem about the internet connections and all of the things. Scrutinizer's report. What all shall be included in the report of the scrutinizer? Total votes casted, valid votes, votes in favor of the resolution, including the invalid voting papers and the votes comprised there. Whatever votes have been given in favor, against, and whatever votes have been casted, everything will be included in the shareholders report. Chairman will then declare. Who will declare the result? Chairman, because this scrutinizer will prepare the report, Excel sheet, and he will hand it over to the chairman. Chairman will declare the result of poll, voting on poll. The result can either be announced by himself or any other person. He will either announce the result himself or he will authorize any other person in writing to announce the result. So what is the form for appointment of proxy? MGT 11. What is the form for polling papers? MGT 12. What is the form in which the scrutinizers prepare the report? What is the form? I'm asking you. This is the question. What is the form in which the scrutinizers prepare the report? MGT 13. Only two more forms are left in this chapter now. Good. Correct answer given. So similarly, we will be voting through electronic mode. Central government will tell which companies can exercise the right to vote by electronic. Central government will prescribe the voting through electronic modes. Number one, every company which has listed its shares on recognized stock exchange and every company which have not less than 1,000 members. So at least more than 1,000 members if you have, then only you can have the electronic means. And central government may prescribe. So it is not compulsory. It can be that you can do the voting through electronic means. Shall provide its members the facility to exercise their votes in case of the proposed resolutions to be passed in the general meeting. However, Nidhi company or an institutional investors is not provided with the facility. So Nidhi companies and what are the exempted companies under 108? Nidhi companies and invested institutional investors do not have the method of casting the votes by electronic means. And which all companies can vote through electronic means? Number one, the companies which has listed its securities, and also if the number of members are more than 1,000, then only you can provide this method of casting the vote through electronic means. A company will provide this facility has to comply with the following procedure. Now 108 is going to tell you what is the procedure. It is exactly the same. All these sections are 107, 8, 9, 10, they're all interrelated. But again, since it is part of a syllabus, so you have to read each and every line which is given over here in your module, and also short notes made in the presentation so that you can go through them. Notice will be given. So you will send notice to all the members of the company, directors and auditors of the company, either by registered post, that we are planning to find the voting through electronic means. This notice will also be posted, placed on the website of the company. And particulars, what all the particulars shall be contained in the notice? The company is providing this facility. This facility is for voting it through electronic system or ballot system. So voting by electronic system 108 and 110 postal ballots are interlinked. So members who have cast their votes by remote e-voting prior to the meeting may also have the right, but shall not be entitled to cast their vote again. So if you have casted your vote, so I am a shareholder, Mr. Ray, sitting at home, and I have casted my vote by e-remoting. I just click the button and e-voting has been done. Now, when the general meeting happened, I am not entitled to cast my vote again. So there were 5 resolutions. On one of the resolution, I've already casted my e-vote. So now in the general meeting, I can cast my vote on the balance 4 resolutions, but not on this resolution on which I've already casted the vote. Notice will also indicate what is the process to be followed, how the email IDs will be operating, how the login IDs will be given. Everything is written in the notice. And this notice has to be given at least 21 days before the date of the meeting. The way you were giving notice under 101, so 21 clear days notice has to be given. And what is the newspaper in which the notice will be coming? In the newspaper, vernacular newspaper in the same language, and also in the English newspaper. This notice shall state the statement for which what all business we are going to do the transactions, what all resolutions will be passed by electronic voting, date and time of the electronic voting. So maybe, for example, have you seen the Google Forms, children? Nowadays, we have Google Forms electronic methods. So teacher tells you that your Google Form will be opening the test that I'm sending it through Google Form. It will remain open from 5 p.m. today till 10 p.m. So that is the time period we have given. Similarly, for the e-voting, we can give the date and time period that this e-voting will be commencing on this time, and only till this time you can utilize this e-voting system. You cannot that continuously whenever you want, you can use it. You have to give the certain date and time period. Cut-off date means a date not earlier than 7 days before the date of the meeting for determining. So all the peoples within 7, what is the meaning of cut-off date? It is the date, say for example, the meeting is on 18th. So what is the cut-off date? That is 11th. So if you are a member of the company on 11th, then you can cast your voting by e-vote. If your name has been removed, if the meeting is on 18th and the cut-off date is 11th, if your name has been removed from the register on 12th, but on 11th your name was still there, then you can cast it. All right. The manner in which you have acquired the shares after obtaining the login ID password will be given to all the members. The statement will also provide that the remote e-votings will not be beyond the set time and date, and all the cut-off dates, depositories, names of persons who are entered in the register of members, all these dates will be given. The facility of e-voting shall not be more than 3 days at 5 p.m. on the date preceding at the general meeting. So at least 3 days and shall close at 5 p.m. So it is again business hours time shall be given for the e-voting. Option for remote e-voting. During such period, the members holding either the shares physically or dematerialized in the cut-off form may adopt for e-voting. Once you have casted your vote, will not allow to change it subsequently. Once you have casted your vote in favor of e-remoting, you cannot change your vote for the resolution that you have passed. When to block facility. So what is the meaning of block facility? So at the end of e-remoting, the facility shall be forthwith blocked. So now you have blocked the facility. If again you want to make this system open, then the facility can be made operational till the resolutions are considered in the meeting. So once you have adopted, so block facilities again, like I told you, the Google form, we try to remove it, we try to close it. Similarly, the remote e-facility will be blocked after all the votes have been cast. Again, the scrutinizer will be appointed. Here, board of directors is appointing these scrutinizers, one or more persons as a scrutinizer, and he's a professional person who is either a chartered accountant, cost accountant, or company secretary. So here they have told you who is the scrutinizer. They have just mentioned a name of a person who will be appointed as he deemed fit. The chairman is appointing, and under 108, the board of directors, CS, cost accountant will be appointed, who is not in the employment of the company. Again, a scrutinizer is an outside person. And he's a person of a reputation. He's of a good reputation and who is in the opinion can scrutinize the voting and e-remoting in a fair and transparent manner. So again, he has to come. He will see all the e-remoting has been done correctly and what is the final decision a scrutinizer is appointed to take. He may take assistance from the person who is not in employment and he's well versed with the electronic. Now, all this is about your IT system, right? Electronic e-voting is going to happen. Remote e-voting is sitting at home and click of the button you're doing. So somebody who is an expert in the electronic voting system, he can take the assistance from that person, but he shall not be in the employment of the company. Willingness of scrutinizer for appointment. Scrutinizer will be willing to be appointed and the purpose. He shall be willing to work for this and will be available for ascertaining the required majority. What is the role of chairman? The role of chairman will be by use of ballot or voting paper, by using electronic voting, all those members who are present but not cast their votes by availing e-remoting facility. So chairman will also be there who will be taking care of this. All the posting by ballot and e-voting is being held properly. All right, so safe custody of registers have to be maintained, children. Results along with the report has to be placed on the website. The date on the resolution shall be passed. So once you have done the e-remoting, it will be assumed that the resolutions shall deem to be passed on the date of the relevant. So if the meeting was adjourned, on the adjourned meeting, the date on which the resolutions have been passed, that will be considered as the date of the resolution. The resolution not to be withdrawn. Once you have passed the meeting, once you have clicked on the resolution through electronic means, you cannot withdraw. All right, so this is your entire rule 21 where you talk about, so 107 goes very well with 109, that is show of hands, and then 109 is for demand for poll. With 109, you will remember rule number 21, and 108 tells you about electronic means, and 110 talks about rule 22. It is exactly the same rule about postal ballot. So postal ballot means you're casting your votes by post or through any other mode of electronic mode. Electronic mode was anyway specifically talked about under section 108. Now let's talk about the postal ballot method. Okay. So postal ballot method in respect of the business by the central government shall be transacted. So there are certain companies which can only transact the business by means of postal ballot. In respect of any other item other than the ordinary business and any business for which the directors or auditors have the right to be heard can be done by postal ballot. Now, this is very interesting line. So it says, can the ordinary business be done by postal ballot? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Can we do the ordinary business transaction? No, ma'am. Ordinary business can never be done by postal ballot. You have to be personally present to do the ordinary business. Remember those 4 ordinary businesses? For that, postal ballot is not applicable. Okay. Can we do the postal ballot where the directors or auditors have the right to be heard, appointment and removal of directors you're doing? Can you do it as per the postal ballot? No, ma'am. Where the directors and auditors have the right to be heard, they shall be physically present. Right to be heard means sunwai ke liye mauka dena. So you can hear them only when you have invited them for the meeting. Now, for postal ballot, you will not be able to hear. So instead of transacting such business as a general meeting, so any other business apart from this and the business which central government deems fit can be done by postal ballot method. Transaction at the general meeting which is required to provide vote under section 108 is exactly the same. So it is a similar kind of procedure that we understood at 108. A resolution to be passed by majority of the shareholders shall deem to have it. Once the majority of the shareholders have taken the decision by postal ballot, it will deem to be the final resolution. So draft resolution will be prepared the way in electronic means you were doing posting on the ballot within a period of 30 days from the dispatch of the notice. So within 30 days, you should be sending your postal ballot vote. Notice can be sent by registered post or speed post is exactly the same. You have to post it on the website. You can just give it a fair reading. It's word to word the same things that we have done in the e-voting. So again, the name of dispatch, a date, commencement of the voting, end of the voting, postal ballot date shall not be valid and the voting will not go beyond the date. So whatever dates have been given, the votes have to be casted. Board of directors will appoint the scrutinizer. He will be willing to be appointed exactly same things that you have done. He will maintain the register manually or electronically. The only difference is here the scrutinizer immediately declare the results in case of e-voting. In case of voting on demand on poll, their 7 days time period is given to the scrutinizers. Postal ballot and other papers will remain in the safe custody of the scrutinizers and signs the minutes. This will be handed over to the company to preserve it. So all these papers will also be preserved for a very long period. When we go to the minutes of the meeting, there you'll understand how the procedure for preservations have to be. Assent or dissent received within 30 days shall also be made reply from the members who have not received. So whosoever directors or members who have assented means who have come and given their votes, and dissented means dissenting shareholders who have not been present in the voting shall also be, record has to be maintained for them also. Rule 20 regarding voting by electronic means is as far as mutatis mutandis to this rule. What is the meaning of mutatis mutandis? Means shall apply in the same way. The same way we have done Rule 20 regarding the voting by electronic modes, same way Rule 22 talks about the postal ballot. The results will be declared, posting of the website, alteration. So following are the items which can be done by postal ballot. Now, this is a valid question. Okay. Till now, Rule 22, we were just discussing about the procedure as we have discussed the procedure in Rule 21. So Rule 20, 21, 22, it says the similar kind of procedure, mutatis mutandis, has to be applied for the voting by electronic means also. So what is the question that can come in exam? Businesses to be transacted by postal ballot. What all business can be done? Alteration of these. These are something which you have already studied in your previous chapters. Altering the object clause of memorandum. What was the section for that? Can you alter the object clause of memorandum? Somewhere around section 12-13, you must have studied in second chapter. Altering the articles for insertion and removal of provisions which are to be included. Changing the RO of the company registered office, changing the objects of the company, issue of shares with differential right. For all these kind of resolutions, the business that you're transacting, the voting can be done by postal ballot. Buyback of the shares. When you're doing buyback of the shares under section, what is the section for buyback of shares, children? Section 68. Electing the directors, loans and guarantees to be given. 1% companies having up to 200s are not required to transact the business. So all these kind of transactions, whatever you're doing, has to be done. The ordinary business can be passed by postal ballot. All right. So postal ballot is also done. Let us just flip through the pages of study material also, so that we have not left out anything from there also. All right. Proxies and everything we have done. So let's do this illustration 8. I think we did it in the previous class. Have we done this, children? Illustration number 8. Mr. Subramaniam and Sneha are joint shareholders of sports equipment holding 500 equity shares. In respect of particular special business being done at EGM, Subramaniam is in the favor of the resolution, whereas Sneha does not favor the resolution. Decide how the vote will be casted. So it will be, since they both are not at consensus, so they should concur at the meeting, means joint shareholders. And what will be the decision to be taken, children? It will be decided on the basis of seniority. Very good, Swati. On the basis of seniority, seniority means the person whose name appears first in the register will be taken the decision. Where directors are also, consider a situation where directors are also the shareholders of the company. So now this is a very simple question, illustration 9. You can learn it as it is. It says the directors are the shareholders who are standing in fiduciary relationship. Directors shall vote in the same manner as the shareholders are voting. Therefore, while from the shareholders themselves, right? So the way shareholders have the right to vote, directors also have the right to vote. Can insolvent shareholder vote? You have already told me yes, ma'am, because his name is appearing in the register of members, then he can cast the vote. This is all the notices that we have discussed for passing the e-remoting, remote e-voting. I think demand for poll is a little more interesting because Scrutinizer is coming. So e-voting and postal ballot are almost similar things that you have to remember. So it's a lot of theory, but I've explained you. So you just have to go through and read the points. Just give it a reading twice and thrice. That is enough. You cannot memorize and learn each and everything. And children, at times now, when you're revising, when you have read it twice and thrice, the things do come back to your mind. Do you agree with me that if you have really revised well and you've prepared your things well before the exam, so just the day before exam when you're studying, the things do come back in your mind, provided you have done them really well while preparing. All right, so this demand for poll also we have done. I was just going through and see if there are any illustrations that we can cover. All right. Difference between motion and resolutions now under 114 and 170. What is the meaning of resolution, children? Resolutions is the formal decision. We have been talking about special resolution, ordinary resolution. Okay, tell me one thing. Is there mandatory that in the AGMs or in the only ordinary resolutions can be passed and no special resolutions to be passed? No, it is not like that. ER and SR have to be passed exclusively for which their decisions have been taken. No, so many things we have discussed in the previous chapters where SR is required to be passed. There are many other things where OR is required. So it has nothing to do with which meeting we are passing. You cannot say that at AGM OR is passed and at say AGM SR is passed. It is not like that. We have to take a decision. So it is a formal decision which you take at while transacting a business. A motion has obtained the necessary majority votes in favor of the resolution. So when you get majority votes, it is just a motion. Some matters come before the meeting by way of motion means recommendations only. But final decisions is known as resolution. Ordinary resolution and special resolution, section 114. Yes, Khushbu, absolutely correct answer that you have given. Section 114 tells you ordinary resolution is passed by simple majority. What is the meaning of simple majority? If the votes casted in favor are more than the votes casted against are more than that. So simple majority means more than 50%. So if I just pass 50% of the majority, can I pass the OR? Can we pass OR if 50% of the members have agreed? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Very good, very good, very good. Excellent answers given by everyone. No, ma'am, it is not correct because more than 50%. So 51% majority where I will get, then only OR can be passed, not at 50%. But what is special resolution? 3 times the number of votes in against the resolution means at least 75% of the shareholders agree. So in special resolution, if only 75% of the members have agreed, can I pass the SR or can we pass the SR if 75% of the members have agreed? Yes or no? Yes, ma'am, we can pass. So for SR, we can pass at 75%. For OR, at least more than 50% of the shareholding is required. Now, this is all about the SR and OR, which we are going to take. Simple majority resolutions shall be set out in the, yes, very important points. Resolutions shall be set out in the notice and 21 days clear notice is to be given for conducting any special business. Remember, under 100 and section 102, explanatory statement has to be given to the notice if you are conducting a special business. All right. Yes, Om Krishna, it means 3/4. That means 75%. Very good. AGM of Superstar Bakers Limited was attended by 60 members. For transacting a particular business, resolution was to be passed as a special resolution. 10 members voted against the resolution, whereas 5 abstained themselves from voting. So 60 members are there. SR was to be passed. So what is 75% of 60? You can do it. So 10 members have voted against the resolution and 5 abstained means 5 have not voted. Chairman declared the resolution was passed as a special resolution, whether it is valid or not. So how many will be considered? 60 minus 5 you have to do because 5 have abstained from voting means they're not going to vote. So out of 55, how many of them have voted? Please do the calculation and tell me, children. Hurry up. I want to know the exact calculation, whether the SR is passed is valid or not. So for SR, 3 times of the resolution vote shall be casted in favor of the against it. So 3 times the number of the votes cast against it. The votes cast in favor of the resolution must be 3 times against it. So 10 members have voted for the resolution. Minimum 30 members, 3 times of the 10. So how many members have voted? Tell me. I'm looking for the answers. 45 has voted in favor. Very good. So it says ignoring 5 members, 45 members. That is 60 minus 10 minus 5. So these 10 members have voted against. 5 members have not voted. So 15 members minus 30, 45 members have voted in favor of the resolution, which exceeds the required majority of 30 members. So 75% would have been 30. So 45 have voted in favor. So it becomes a special resolution can be passed as valid. In the AGM of, so only Swati is studying. What about others? Others are not answering. Yes, Khushbu, Ritu, Om Krishna, very good. Everyone is written correct. 45 favor. Yes, it is valid. Good, good, good. Now you're answering. At the AGM of Steel Product Limited, the notice contained in the agenda for 8 special businesses to be transacted. Chairman decided to move all the resolutions one at a time in order to save the time present. Discuss 2 or more. Now, this is very interesting. Can we pass 2 or more resolutions together? It says only where the resolutions have to be passed relating to the appointment of directors. Jahan pe section 162 is involved. There you have to be very careful that independent resolution has to be passed for every decision. However, for any other transactions, there is nothing illegal if all the 2 or more resolutions are moved together. All right. So it says for avoiding confusion, resolutions are moved separately. Otherwise, we just try to avoid the confusions and we try to move the resolutions separately. But otherwise, if there are certain kind of things where you want to take the resolutions together, then it is not illegal. Any member requires can vote separately or unless the poll is demanded. The only case where the resolution has to move separately is regarding the appointment of directors, where 2 or more directors may not be appointed by single resolution. Every director has to be appointed by passing a separate resolution. When the notice has been given for several resolutions, each resolution has to put separately. However, the meeting unanimously adopt, then it would be immaterial. So it simply tells you that where you want to pass multiple resolutions for transacting single business, you can definitely go for that also. But the only exception is where you're passing the resolutions for the appointment of 2 or more directors. Then for every director appointment, individual resolutions have to be passed. All right, so we are left with very few transactions and sections. So section 114, 15 also we have done. So just 4-5 sections are left. Let's take a small break over here. Just go through what we have done, and after the break, we will finish off this chapter. Let's take a small break here. Yes, students, welcome back. Before we proceed further, anyone has any doubts? If you want to ask something or you have any doubts. So we have finished with the postal ballot also, the voting done by e-voting also. So only the very few sections are left right now. Before that, section 114, any doubts? The resolution passed by ordinary resolution, special resolution also we have done. Now we'll be moving ahead to section 115, which says resolution requiring special notice. Okay, Om Krishna has said, okay, ma'am, no doubts. That's great. So we have discussed about these special resolutions, ordinary and special. Swati also says no doubt. That's excellent. So there are certain resolutions which require special notice. Now, what is the meaning of special notice? It says following are the cases where special notice is required. So sometimes, children, when you're transacting for a special business, I told you that certain special notice is given, and along with that, a statement is annexed in the share notice that we will be doing transacting a special business, and for that you have to give a special business. Okay, good, Khushbu. I'm glad everything is clear. Who all are here in the portal with us? I hope you're all understanding. Ishwar, Bimani, Vidya, Shraddhe, all of you. Okay. So special notice is required in the following cases where you're appointing the auditors other than retiring auditors. So after MGT, when you will be studying the chapter of auditor, there will explain you section 140. Whenever any auditor is appointed, resolution needs to be passed, this special notice has to be given. Or retiring auditor has to be reappointed, removing the director before his expiry period. Now, section 169 and all these director sections are part of your CA final. But here you simply have to remember these are the cases where the special notice is required. As we did in the previous sections where ordinary resolutions were required, specific cases have been given. Similarly, these are the cases, resolutions where the special notice is required. Rule 23 specifies the procedure to be followed for the special notice. So there is a certain set procedure that you have to follow in case of a special notice is required. The special notice to be given will be signed by the members holding not less than 1% of the total voting power. So again, special notice has to be signed by people. There is a special procedure to be followed. First of all, the notice, the intention of this notice has to be given for the members not holding less than 1% of the shareholding or aggregate of sum of 5 lakhs, whichever is higher or whichever is lower. Tell me, what is the aggregate sum over here that we have to be given? Notice of the intention has to be given by the members holding not less than 1% or the members holding paid up share capital exceeding 5 lakh rupees. All these things have to be noticed. Again, Rule 23 specifies the same limit. Notice shall be sent to the members not earlier than 3 months, but at least 14 days before the date of the meeting. So what is the maximum time period that they have given for the special notice? 3 months time period is there, but at least 14 days before the resolutions are moved to the meeting, all this notice shall be given. So again, all these dates are children clear dates in which the dates are the exclusive. No less than 5 lakh, very good. So that means at least 5 lakhs of the paid up share capital that you're holding, okay? Company will immediately after receiving the notice give the notice to the members for at least 7 days before the date. So there are 3 dates that you have to remember in case of special notice. The notice will be sent to the company not earlier than 3 months. That is 3 months is the time period for which the notice has to be sent for the special notice that we are going to transact this business of appointing of the auditors or removal of directors. And then within 14 days before the date of the meeting, this notice will be given. Company will give the notice to its members at least 7 days before the date of the meeting. So company will give the notice to the members at least 7 days before the date of the meeting that this special notice has been given for the business to be transacted at the meeting. Where it is not possible to give this notice in this manner, then publish the notice in newspaper. If you're not possible to give the memo, then it is important to give the notice in the English newspaper and again vernacular newspaper. The notice will be published 7 days before the date of the meeting, excluding the date of the notice and the date of the meeting. So again, on 18th, if you have given the notice, on 18th, if the meeting is going to be held, by 11th, you should have given, so 7 clear days. So by 10th, you should have given, 10th and 18th are excluded, and 11th till 17th, 7 days will be counted. That will be considered as if the notice has been served as per the provisions of the Act. So what are the two cases where specifically where the special notice is required? Tell me. Appointment of the auditors, other than retiring auditors, section 140 and section 169, removal of directors. So this can come as a question to you in MCQs. So examiner will give that these are the cases where the special notice is required, yes or no, where the appointment of auditor other than retiring auditors and removal of directors. So you will write yes, 115 is applicable to them in these both cases. All right. Okay. Section 116 tells you about the resolutions to be passed at the adjourned meeting. So remember, I told you if the quorum is not present at the meeting, then the meeting stands adjourned to the same date at the same time in the next week. So if again the quorum is not present, it will be considered that the members who are present shall be found to be the quorum for the meeting at that time. But now if resolutions, now this adjourned meeting is the continuation of the original meeting only, where the meeting has been adjourned, resolutions are passed by the company or the shareholders or directors, then the resolution shall deem to have been passed on the date. In fact, actually, it shall not deem to have been passed on that date. So it was the date of the meeting, 14th October. Now the shareholders or the quorum was not present. So 21st October in the same week, next week, the meeting has been adjourned. Now, whatever resolutions you are passing on this date, on 21st October, the effective date of the resolution will be 21st October only, not 14th October, because the two resolutions that have been passed, the resolutions that have been passed in the adjourned meeting shall deem to be the resolutions passed on those very dates. You cannot say that this is the meeting which was adjourned meeting. It is a continuation of the 14th October meeting. So this resolutions, what will be the date of these resolutions? The date on which they have been passed, that is what date we have taken, 21st October in our example. Okay. All right. So this is 116. 117 is a very elaborative section. They have given you all the detail of the resolutions. You don't have to learn all these resolutions, but yes, a fair reading can be given to all the resolutions that are given under the study material. Section 117 tell you what are the resolutions and the agreements to be filed with. All these resolutions and agreements have to be filed. So what are the resolutions? It says all the special resolutions, all the resolutions agreed by the members for the appointment and reappointment of the directors, that is MD, Managing Director. Resolution of Board of Directors, all these resolutions that has been passed, a person shall not be entitled under section 399 to inspect the copies of the resolution. So these are your internal matters. When you say AOA and MOA are the public documents, these resolutions are not open to the outsiders to review them. Remember Turquoise case where the resolutions are your internal matter, whether the company is passing the resolution, they're doing their affairs and everything, it has to be taken care by the company itself. So section 117 children exclusively talks about all the resolutions and agreements to be passed. They have to be filed with the ROC also in MGT 14 form. All the resolutions that now you have done the meeting, you have passed the resolutions, all these copy of the resolutions that are given over here shall be filed with ROC within 30 days of passing of these resolutions. Okay, and if any default is made by the company, then what is the fine? You can rate the fine 100 per day for which the default continues. Rupees 10,000 is the fine for officer in default, and the maximum fine goes up till rupees 50,000. And any default made by the company in filing the resolutions with ROC, it says 10,000 plus 100 per day for the fine, maximum of rupees 2 lakhs. So it is the only fine that you have to remember over here. They're very less penalties, but a lot of forms. But since the forms are very categorically, we have discussed all these forms. So you can remember this MGT 14. It is specifically talking about the resolutions to be filed with ROC within 30 days. And the resolutions which I've given, they have been filed in MGT 14. Is that clear, children? Yes, 100 rupees for each day. That's correct, Peter. Now let's talk about the minutes. Section 118 is still comparatively little important, whatever we have discussed by now. So what is important? Ordinary and special resolution you will read from the book. 116, you can give it a reading. 117, mere reading you have to give to all the resolutions. What is important is 30 days wala provision, MGT 14, and the penalty that we have discussed, and also 399 that it is not open to the public to inspect these kind of resolutions. Okay, now what is the meaning of minutes? Minutes are also known as protocols and notes, records of the meetings. Absolutely correct, Khushbu. And thank you, Ritu, for writing crystal clear, ma'am. I'm so glad that when you understand all these things. So are you all enjoying the session? Are you understanding each and everything? So that's great. Good, good, good. Om Krishna, Swati, Khushbu. When you're responding, the teacher also feel boosted when you're responding because it means that you're understanding and the session becomes more interactive. And that is what I enjoy doing with all of you because that is how we have to learn it. Ultimate goal is that you should be able to learn it. That's for what the institute is holding all these revisionary sessions for you. Okay. And very nicely, you all have been responding and answering. So that's great. Let's move to this third last section, that is minutes of the meeting. What is the meaning of minutes? It is a summary. So we have to remember, first of all, why the minutes have to be prepared. The minutes after every AGM has ended, you have to, all the resolutions passed by postal ballot, whatever meetings have been done, all the minutes have to be prepared and they have to be signed. So first we will be talking about the preparing of the minutes. Signing of the minutes is important and they shall be kept within 30 days of the conclusion of the general meeting of shareholders, creditors, and resolution passed by postal ballot. All these meetings have to be kept in the minute book within 30 days. So within 30 days, you have to file MGD 14 of the resolutions with the ROC. Similarly, under 110, whatever the resolutions have been passed, the minutes have to be entered in the minute book within 30 days of the conclusion of the general meeting, postal ballot meeting, and resolutions passed there. Minutes basically contain a correct and fair summary of the proceedings. All the appointments made in case of board meeting, the minutes shall contain the name of the directors who were present and also the names of dissenting shareholders. Remember, I told you the dissenting shareholders, those who were not present, their minutes shall also be maintained. The names shall also be entered that while these resolutions are passed, these are the directors who did not concur, did not appear at the time of the meeting. There shall not be included in the minutes any matter in the opinion of the central government, in the opinion of the chairman, which is defamatory, irrelevant, or detrimental to the interest of the company. So now the company secretary is making the minutes of the meeting and you're telling him all these things. So minutes basically means a fair summary. Say, for example, you had a fete or a college event in your college, and now your teacher has asked you that make the minutes of the entire summary whole day, what you did. So you will say that the event started at this time and there were different stalls and then we were doing this activity at my stall. So many people came. So now the person is dictating all these terms to you. And while dictating, he said that there was somebody who was really abusing, saying wrong things, and something bad has been also said in the meeting. So all these kind of things which are defamatory, detrimental to the interest shall not be included in the meeting. So chairman, in the opinion of chairman finds that all these things shall not be included, then you will not include all those fights and all those wrong things that have happened. If anything in the meeting, they shall not be included in the minutes of the meeting. Chairman also has the absolute discretion to decide what to include and what not to include with respect to subsection 5. That means chairman will take the call what all to be included and what all not to be included in the meeting. Very nice. You have studied this in business correspondence and reporting, also in foundation about the minutes. So it is exactly the similar kind of thing. So minutes are basically kept to make an evidence of the record. So you have made an evidence, the records that this is what happened. So like we have taken the record that all these things happened, all these stalls are put. So basically it is the evidence and the record. When the minutes have been maintained of the meeting called, the resolution passed, all the appointment of directors shall deem to be valid. When once you have maintained the minutes, that means all the decisions that were taken are valid decisions and they have been now recorded in the minute books also. No document with respect to shall be circulated at company's expense unless it has been entered in the minutes. So you have to enter in the minutes, record it, and inspection. We will be understanding under section 119 how the inspection of minutes can happen. If the company, every company to observe sectorial practices to be issued by Institute of Company Secretary. So now, whenever we're studying Companies Act, CS is basically taking care of all these matters in the company. So they have to follow whatever Institute of Company Secretaries of India have given the guidelines. All those guidelines should also be followed for respect of every company, all the meetings that have been held. And any default, 25,000 rupees fine, and officer in default rupees 5,000 in default shall be liable. And this is the only penalty since morning that we have studied. We have not talked about imprisonment. Here, in case of imprisonment, will also be there. If you are found guilty of tampering with the minutes, means you're doing any wrong thing with the minutes. Because children, it is a very important decision you have taken in the resolutions and the meetings, and you're making a record of that. So if your minutes are not having a true and fair picture of the meetings that you have held, then there will be a imprisonment. One, there will be, I believe, a fine of 25,000 and 5,000, and also the imprisonment, that is jail up to 2 years, and fine of 25,000 to 1 lakh can be charged if any person is found guilty of tampering with the minutes. So you cannot do any kind of wrong thing with the minutes. Also, Rule 25 I have included for all of you. So Rule 25 simply tell you that the minutes have to be maintained for each of the meeting, that is general meeting and board meeting, and 30 days, again, the same things that you have read in the section. Now, 30 days, the minutes have to be entered, the resolution passed by postal ballot, including all the resolution passed, the results of the meeting, summary of the scrutinizer report. What was the summary of scrutinizer report? Scrutinizer has come, he has seen how the things have been held, postal ballot, all these kind of things, they will be included in the meetings. And who will be signing these minutes? Now, this is very, very important. Signing of the minutes is important. Examiner can ask you straight away a question also, how the minutes have to be signed. Listen very carefully, you'll understand. It's very simple. In case the minutes of the proceedings of board meeting, they shall be signed by the chairman of the said meeting or the chairman of the next meeting. So if it is a board meeting or a committee of the meeting, then chairman of the said meeting will sign or the chairman of the next meeting. If it is a general meeting, AGM or EGM, then chairman of the same meeting, but in case of the death of the chairman, a director who has been authorized by the board of directors. Clear ho gaya? First two cases, if it is a board meeting, then chairman of the meeting or the chairman of the next meeting. But if it is a general meeting, then chairman. And if there is no chairman, then board will decide who will be the person. Now, resolution by postal ballot is the summary of both of them. Every resolution passed by postal ballot, chairman or board will sign within 30 days. And if there is no chairman, then director duly authorized by the board. In both the cases, you have to remember chairman has to be there. So first hand information is by the chairman. And if there is no chairman, if the chairman has died, then board will authorize the person who has been authorized will be signing the minutes of the meeting. Signing of the minutes of meeting is important. So this topic of section 118 is divided into 3 categories. Preparation of the minutes. First, we have done preparation. Now, Rule 25, we are understanding how the minutes of the general meeting, board meetings, and directors and resolutions passed by postal ballot, how the signing has to be done. So 3 methods of signing, 3 different meetings, 3 methods we have. Now we talk about the preserving of the minutes of the. Preserving means for how long you have to keep these minute books. You tell me, children. Minutes have to be kept at the RO of the company or any other person, any other place the board of directors may decide, and whether they have to be preserved permanently or for 8 years. When we were talking about the register of members, we have spoken about the 8 years to be preserved. Minutes have to be preserved permanently or 8 years. Tell me. Tell me. 8 years or permanently? All of you have to answer me this one. Very good. Minutes have to be preserved permanently. All of you have given the correct answer. Not 8 years, ma'am. For minutes of the book, it has to be preserved permanently because this is the record that all these meetings have been held and all the resolutions have been passed. Section 8 companies, it says it will not apply except the minutes have been recorded within 30 days. So if Section 8 companies, the exemption has been given, provided you have recorded the minutes books within 30 days. So what all we have to remember, within 30 days, the entry shall be made in the minutes book. If there is any default in tampering of the minutes, the jail can also happen for 2 years and fine. Then we have studied about how the minutes have to be entered in different kind of books. Signing of the minutes have to be done by divided into general meeting, board meeting, and the resolutions passed by postal ballot. And the last topic is preserving. Preserving of the minutes have to be done for permanently. All right. Now, inspection of the minutes. Inspection of the minutes is also very, very interesting. So board meeting happened and then you have entered in anything in the minutes of the meeting. Now, minute books have been kept at the RO of the company. Minute books shall be kept open for inspection at the register office of the company or any other place during the business hours. And for how much time can be allowed for the inspection? 3 hours, 8 hours, 2 hours? Tell me, how much time can be allowed for the inspection? Anyone who wants to inspect the minutes of the meeting, how much time period can be given? 8 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. 2 hours shall be given and also during the business hours. Absolutely correct. And if the company, any member has requested the company and the payment of the fees has been done, then the copy of the minutes shall be furnished within how many days, children? 9 days, 10 days, 7 days. The copy of the minutes books shall be furnished within how many days? So Ritu, Om, Krishnam, Swati, everybody, Kushbu answering so correctly. Very good. Within the 7 working days. Very nice, very nice. Within the 7 working days. That's correct. Now, there is a person from whom the fees will not be charged for inspecting the minutes, provided he is a member of the company. He has requested for the soft copy of the minutes of the meeting and for the meetings held 3 years preceding immediately 3 financial years. Then he can inspect the copy of the meetings free of cost, means he do not need to pay any cost for inspecting the minutes of the company. Is that clear? So who is the person who is exempted from the fees? Is a member of the company who is asking for the soft copy of the minutes, and he's asking for the minutes of the immediately 3 years preceding period. Maintenance and inspection of the documents in electronic form, section 120 is very simple. It is just trying to tell you that all these documents and provisions of the Act shall be kept by the company, and it can be kept in the electronic form. You can refer to Rule 27, 28, 29, which simply talks about section 120, that all these rules. So section rule 27 tells you that the listed company having more than 1,000 shareholders and director holders shall maintain the records in the electronic form. Rule 28 tells you that MD, CS and other officers will be responsible for maintaining these e-records. And Rule 29 specifically tells you that these records shall be open for inspection. Anyone can come and check these provisions that you have maintained in the electronic form. Now, section 121, the last section, is a little important, a report on the annual general meeting. So let me just talk to you. So I told you that you have been holding a fate in your organization and in the company, and now you have entered the minutes. So you have recorded the minutes, whole of the meeting has happened. Don't you think you need to inform about this whole entire meeting? So your AGM has happened. You have concluded the AGM very nicely. Whatever AGM has happened, whatever event occurred, you need to inform the ROC within 30 days of conclusion of the AGM. And in which form you have to inform ROC? So the last form of this chapter, that is MGT 15, will be used. So every listed company will prepare a report of the annual general meeting. That meeting was convened and conducted as per the provisions of this Act. And it will file a copy with ROC in MGT 15 form, and within 30 days, this copy has to be filed. साथ के साथ ही default की penalty, if any default has been made or not filing, a penalty of 1 lakh plus 500 for every day, subject to maximum of 5 lakhs, and 25,000 plus 500 per day, maximum of 1 lakh for the officer in default. This much penalty will be charged to all those person who has defaulted in filing the report of the annual general meeting with the AG. And let me quickly show you the rule 31 also, because I've written that you can refer to rule number 31. So this is your 115 provisions that we have done, children. All these provisions of the Act have to be read with the rules that have been given in the chapter itself. So these are the resolutions. You can give it a fair reading. I was telling you there's certain resolutions. You can just read it. Minutes we have done 118. We have done minutes also. All these topics we have covered. Minutes you will divide it into 3 different points: preparation, signing, and keeping on maintenance. So it becomes easy for you to learn. This is all the minutes that they have given about the postal ballot, everything. You can refer to my short notes for that. Inspection of the minutes also we have discussed in detail. Here is your rule 26, 27, 28 that I was mentioning about the rules. It is given over here. Maintenance of the records under section 120, we have discussed that also. The company can maintain the records, and rule 28 tells you who is going to maintain. The board of directors, company secretary will maintain all these records. You can give it a fair reading, not that important. And then general meeting, we have concluded. Already we have read about the general meeting, section 96. And then section 100 about EGM, read with rule 17. Even if you don't remember rules, it's okay. Now they are giving you AGMs and everything. So this we have already done 97, 98. Okay. Report on annual general meeting. So they have just collaborated these sections over here so that you don't get a mismatch. 121, after the AGM has happened, within 30 days, you have to inform the ROC. And also there is a fine if you do not submit this MGT 15 form. Extraordinary general meeting, section 100, we have already covered, children. On the requisition of the directors, you have also answered me all these questions. So these illustrations, blue move peacocks, do read all these illustrations from the study material. They are very important to be read. You never know what kind of question comes with the change in the name of members from here only, and the similar kind of illustrations can be there in your examination question paper also. So don't skip a single illustrations. Illustrations are for your understanding. So this section 122 I want to show you. It simply tells you applicability of this chapter to OPCs. So all these sections that we have covered, ordinary business to be transacted, resolutions to be passed section, all these sections are chapter 7 to 1% company. How it is applicable, it is given over here. Okay, so 122 also says to OPC all these tribunal section. What was section 98? Tribunal passing the order for the meeting of EGM. 100 is calling of EGM. 101, 102, you have all done these sections. Circulation of members resolution. Where does the circulation of members resolution to be done? Within 6 weeks for the date the notice has to be given, if new resolution has to be included, and if there is any change in the resolution statement, within 2 weeks before the date of the meeting has to be given. That's it, and this is your summary of the chapter. That means very well and on time we have concluded this chapter. So I hope everyone has understood it nicely and carefully. Any doubts, children? Anyone wants to ask any doubts? Or it's clear, everyone? So I hope you have enjoyed the session. Now my humble request to each one of you, go through your chapters nicely and clearly, revise them. All the descriptive questions that are given on the back of the study material, try reading the question and writing it down with your own hands. When you write down the answers yourself, you understand how you have to attempt in the exam also. Because children, at times, law is very easy because you have learned everything and you're memorizing and you're learning, you're remembering, you feel very happy. The only problem occurs when you're not able to express and write it down in the exam. So writing practice is the most important point that you have to do at these last days. All right. Thank you, Om Krishnam. Thank you, Swati. Thank you, Ritu. I'm glad everything is clear. So you don't have any doubts. That's nice. Anyone still want? We have 2-3 minutes if you want to ask your doubts. All right. So no doubts. Great. All right. Thank you, students. All right. Thank you, Krishnam. Thank you, Vichu. So we are done with the session.